I'm here with Professor Stephen Chan of the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London. Professor Chan joins us for the Hans Singer Memorial Lecture. Welcome at the German Development Institute. In your Hans Singer Memorial Lecture, you propose the imagination of a moral universe. What does this really mean, and how does it relate to the Singer-Prebisch thesis, which states that rich countries which deal in manufactures are winning over those dependent on unprocessed commodities?
What I'm trying to say is that side by side with the world's international economy, you also have what you might call a moral economy. And when you look at the international moral economy, you can see that the whole question of who manufactures what and how much manufacture goes into the creation of ideas or the transmission of ideas, you can sometimes see that it's much richer in terms of the flow and generation of ideas, in terms of the thought generated by countries that are meant to be at the wrong end of the economic spectrum. So looking at the universe in moral terms as opposed to purely fiscal and capital-driven economic forms, you can get a very, very different picture of what development is all about. I think that sometimes when we look at the way that we've constructed the world, or the way we think we've constructed the world, we think that we see the world in our own image. And what I'm trying to say in my lecture is that very, very often the world is not in our image at all.
Your model of a moral universe comprises various elements, meaning philosophies, religion, and political beliefs, which struggle for dominance. In your view, does this automatically lead to a violent clash of civilizations, as Samuel Huntington has suggested?
No, what it does lead to is much debate, and I think that's very, very welcome. I think one of the great problems is we've not been open to debate. One of the great difficulties of what Samuel Huntington proposed was the possibility of insulating oneself from other civilizations, insulating oneself from other ideas, insulating oneself from the possibility of debate. And one of the things I want to say in my lecture is that the whole question of national interests is such that we want to be insulated from debate. We want to be insulated from other ideas in case they jeopardize our conception of our interests. And what I'm trying to say is that in a moral universe, in an international moral economy, in a better world which operates according to a better moral economy, we should open ourselves as much as possible to new ideas and not try to reject them simply because we think at first sight, at first hearing, they might jeopardize our sense of our interests.
As our world becomes even more globalized, the need for international cooperation is growing rapidly. What are promising principles of global cooperation which could bridge cultural divisions and facilitate effective problem solving?
It's not just a question of problem solving. I think it's very, very much the base from which you start to solve the problems. I think one of the big difficulties the West has had is assuming that all normative or moral drive came from the West and that it's we who are helping other people. Now, in a certain sense, of course, we are helping other people, and we try to do this sometimes for our own benefit, for the sake of our feeling good about ourselves and our feeling good about our conception of the moral universe. Look how moral we are to be helping other people. That doesn't actually sort out any problems in the long run. What I'm proposing is that if there's going to be a genuine sense of mutual help in the world today, it has to begin from a foundation of equality. And that begins with a foundation of equality in ideas, as well as how you practice these ideas. So we have to, as it were, lose the sense that we are somehow in the center of the known universe. And I think that when we look at all of the ferment in the world today, and we see all kinds of other rising powers, rising superpowers, and not only superpowers in the old geopolitical sense, we see the rise of contesting ideologies, religious formations. We're actually not at the center of the universe anymore, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a hard lesson that we have to learn. Thank you so much for joining us here today at the German Development Institute, Professor Stephen Chan.